Joining me right now, a man who knows a thing or two about creating growth, Ronald Reagan's former economic advisor, Art Laffer. I'm also joined by another man who knows a thing or two about creating economic growth, economist Donald Luskin. Wonderful to have you both here. Donald, starting with you. I mean, my goodness, the president and some folks over at CNN, as I said, that don't understand the economy or how economics actually works, actually want to believe that the success we're seeing right now is somehow attributable to Barack Obama's policies. What do you say to that?
Well, remember in 2008 when Barack Obama won the presidential nomination of the Democratic Party, he said that this was the moment when the rise of the oceans began to slow and the planet begins to heal. This guy is a first-class messianic narcissist. So don't be surprised that he takes credit for the economy after he's been gone for 2 years. Your statistics say it all. The Obama economy, that's worth about 1.5 GDP growth. In the Trump economy, we're getting 3. All right, let's give Obama the first 1.5%. Let's credit Trump with the next that takes you up to 3. He's not standing on the shoulders of giants exactly. He's standing on the shoulders of a pygmy.
You know, Art, I've always thought it's pretty simple. It was so frustrating during President Obama's years because to me, you know, lower taxes, less regulation. Now, I know I'm talking your gospel, sir, but it's not that hard. And yet he made it hard for himself. You know, you flip a switch, you change the policies, and what do you know? You get growth. How about that?
Well, I think your opening monologue, Trish, was wonderful. I think you've done really well with this show, by the way. And Don Luskin, he's my hero. Don, you're great. The oratory there is wonderful. All I can tell you is that Don Lemon picked this day to make that statement when an editorial in the Wall Street Journal by Obama's chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors sits there and says Trump has increased growth rates and increased employment way above where they should have been because of Trump's policies. Now, that's his own chairman of the Council of Economic Advisors, so I don't know what more I can say, but I love hearing the two of you, and it's just spectacular.
Well, we love hearing you
guys
too,
really do have a way with the words.
Donald, all right, so, you know, economy's doing great. Fundamentals are good. There are some out there, and by the way, I think that same commentator that was making these comments about it being Obama's economy has actually also alluded to recession. Do you see any recession on the horizon in the near term, sir?
No, I don't. I mean, there are certainly risks. You know, the trade war that we're conducting right now with China is a very noble but risky thing. We're trying to get China, which is a very large economy, to be less protectionist. And if we succeed in that, that's going to create a lot of wealth for us and a lot of wealth for China. The problem is, it's you know, we're fighting a war, and you got to break some eggs if you're going to make an omelet.
I've always said that about this president. Well, he's like, it's really going to work, or you're going to have problems. To your point, the trade war is an example of it. Art, we got a rate hike today. The president didn't want one. He told me in our recent interview, he saw the Fed as his biggest threat. Is he right, or is the Fed doing what it needs to do given that we are in a growth environment?
Yeah, well, he told me this last week as well, and I disagreed with him. I thought the rate hikes up until about a market rate of maybe a long-term bond of maybe 4.5% would be about right. But I think he's right. I mean, I'm changing my mind very quickly, watching what happened with Powell today. And I think Powell's a fine man. I think he was the right choice for his Fed chairman. But seeing the rate hike today and seeing what it did to the markets, I don't think we want that type of thing. I think he should take a pause, and I think the president's correct. We should have a hold on monetary policy for a while until these markets stabilize again.
Don't you want to wait to see a little inflation, Donald, right, before you start moving like that on interest rates?
Well, you certainly shouldn't be hiking interest rates when inflation's actually falling. I mean, Powell himself is the one who said that he uses the 10-year Treasury as an indication of where the neutral rate of interest is. Well, the 10-year yield is down almost 50 basis points in just 2 months. You don't hike into that. By the way, did you know that Jerome Powell went to Georgetown Prep, same as Brett Kavanaugh? I think today's press conference after the FOMC, I think he'd had a couple too many beers.
You guys
are
are
you
funny.
serious, Don? No, you're not.
I am.
Are you worried about the stock market falling, though, Don?
It already has, Art, so it's a little too late to worry about that one. I mean, stocks are very cheap. You know, yes, I do think it's a harbinger. We are going through a volatile period, and so stocks are volatile. But the great thing is, you know, stocks are off 15% since their highs just 2 months ago. So you remember, you know, it was a year ago, everybody on this show was saying how overvalued stocks are. You know, I kind of think they're looking smoking cheap right now.
All right,
Well,
on
they're
that
a
note.
lot cheaper than they were.
We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much. Art and Donald, good to see you guys. Coming up next, Venezuela.